Hello, everyone. Welcome to Western's Virtual Fall Preview Day. My name is Danielle Lacoste. I'm the Assistant Dean of Admissions and Recruitment at the Faculty of Law, and I'm here today to talk to you about what you can expect if you come to Western Law and what you can do before you would come, so in your undergraduate program, to help you prepare for law school. So on that note, I'll be talking about these things today. The first is becoming a lawyer. So the timeline for that, as well as what you can expect at each step, and some of the more common professions or some of the more common paths that lawyers take when they join the legal profession. And then second, I'll be talking to you about preparing for law school and what you can do at each step of the way each year as you are moving towards that goal. And I'm not going to get into some of the very, very specific things that you can do about the application process, but really more just to provide you with that overview. And then I also want to talk to you about the difference between getting a Canadian law degree and that path and what that looks like to the licensing process versus getting a law degree from England and perhaps as part of a joint degree program. And again, what that path looks like, because some of you may be contemplating one or the other in deciding on your undergraduate institution. So just some facts for you to keep in mind. And then I'm going to talk to you about our combined degree programs here at Western Law. And these would be with two of our faculties. One is the Ivey Business School. So it is the HBA, Honors Business Administration, JD combined degree. And the other is with the Faculty of Engineering, the Bachelor of Engineering Science and JD combined degree. And then I'm going to wrap it up with some Western Law highlights. So I'll talk to you about our experiential learning opportunities, our student life, and some of our signature items here at Western Law. So when you think of becoming a lawyer, you probably think of what you see in popular culture, in movies such as Legally Blonde or My Cousin Vinny or Better Call Saul or what have you. So Suits, you might recognize some characters from the show Suits. But it's not really like that. That is for dramatic purposes. Certainly a lot of the things that you will see in these movies might depict some of the things you may do in the legal profession, but keep in mind, this is for dramatic effect. It looks a little bit more like this in real life. So you may find yourself in the bowels of a library reading through some dusty books, especially if you're doing any research on legal history, or you'll find yourself working in teams. You will find yourself in front of a computer a lot, doing a lot of reading and spending time in classes. So it's not as glamorous as it looks. So you want to go into it with eyes wide open, but it is definitely intellectually stimulating. And I think that is one of the highlights of studying law. So what does it look like in terms of the timeline? You actually start with your undergraduate degree, and that's what you're looking at right now, presuming that you're in grade 11 or 12. You're looking at, where do I want to go to university? What programs do I want to apply to? And that's where it starts. So most of our students have a 4-year undergraduate degree, but a minimum of 3 years of university is what is required. A good portion of our applicants also have graduate degrees. So some of those students have 5 years or 6 years before coming to law school. So all of that is okay. But the point is you at least need 3 to 4 years of the undergraduate level. Once you're admitted into law school, it is a 3-year program. It's called a professional second entry program. Professional school second entry, meaning you're doing it after your undergraduate degree. If you're interested in studying law at the undergraduate level, you'll perhaps be looking at programs such as legal studies, things like that at the undergraduate level, but that doesn't prepare you for becoming a lawyer. That's your undergraduate program where you might be studying some law, but the actual training, that professional degree where you're going to get into a lot more detail, is the 3-year JD degree. Once you graduate law school, then there's a 1-year licensing process. So it takes about a year. It is comprised of a 10-month period called articling, which is like an internship, a paid internship where you are working for a law firm. The alternative to articling actually is also called a law practice program. And the law practice program is offered by Ryerson University for students who choose to do that instead of articling. That's just another path. And then there are 2 bar exams that you must write with the Law Society of Ontario. And then there's also a good character requirement, and that's really, really important. And what that means is, in an ideal world, you want to be able to demonstrate to the Law Society of Ontario that you do not have a criminal record, you do not have an academic discipline record. So just something to keep in mind moving forward. Now, if you were to have any of those issues, it does not mean you wouldn't necessarily be able to become a lawyer. It just may mean you have an extra hurdle to overcome. So good character is something that we emphasize here at Western right from day one, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But when you think of becoming a lawyer, you think of the traditional path, right? So becoming a lawyer in private practice, the large or small law firm, for example, maybe being on your own, or in-house counsel. And what that means is you're working for a company as their lawyers in-house, as their salaried lawyers doing the specific work of that particular corporation, perhaps. Or organization, perhaps working for the government, so in the Ministry of the Attorney General or the Department of Justice, ultimately becoming a judge down the road, or working for Legal Aid Ontario, for example. So helping people, vulnerable populations with their legal needs. But there are many other careers that you can do with a JD. It is a very, very versatile degree. And so some examples are here. I'm an example of somebody who went into academia. So I've always enjoyed legal education, and that's where I've spent most of my career. ADR is alternative dispute resolution. By that, I'm going to use the example of being a mediator. So where you mediate disputes, many, many disputes do not land in court. And banking, for example, that's another one, legal publishing, working for a non-governmental organization. Okay, so a charitable organization, or organized labor or politics. Many people who are politicians do have law degrees. That's not very uncommon. And other fields include these. So working in business or consulting or internationally, manager, working in media, public relations, or being a sports agent. Many sports agents have backgrounds in law, are lawyers. There's a lot of contract work, a lot of negotiation involved in that. So this is just to give you an idea of the myriad of opportunities that could could take advantage of with a JD degree. And then of course, these careers will evolve over time. So we are entirely immersed in this digital age. Internet privacy is an issue. Risk management is an issue. You will find yourself perhaps working in an area of law in 8 years down the road that we can't quite imagine yet, because things will evolve. So the law has to evolve as society evolves, and the practice of law may change to some degree. For example, it's become very modernized just within the last 6 months as a result of having to respond to the pandemic. And I think we're going to see that continue in the years ahead. So we can't always predict what that's going to be, but that just gives you an idea of what you can look for. So in law school, at least here at Western Law, and I think a lot of other law schools in the country, they will look at different parts of your application in order to assess whether you will be admitted. And these typically comprise these 3 items. So the law school admission test, which is a standardized test that you must write. Your academic performance, by that I'm referring to your undergraduate degree. So that's how you do over time, as opposed to the law school admission test, which is assessing skills at a point in time. And then your personal profile, which is everything else about you that is not numbers based. So I'll talk about that in a little bit. If we were to break these down, so think about, now I'm going to be in university in my first year. I want to prepare for law school, or at least I'm thinking about it. So what should I be doing? So in terms of academics, we will accept any undergraduate program. And some people say, well, really, what should I do? What are you expecting to see? It doesn't matter. We have students this year, for example, 46 different undergrad programs. So that can be arts, humanities, science. It doesn't matter. Social sciences. Do what you love. That way you're more likely to do well, and you'll enjoy university a lot more. And both of those things are really important. Consider your course level and your course load though. So what that means is we like to see that you are taking courses in each year that are commensurate with that level. So second year courses, third year courses. So you're constantly challenging yourself and working at a more advanced level. Your course load is also important. To the extent possible, do try and take a full course load throughout your program. That will stand out. It's not fatal if you don't, but that will stand out. And by that, we mean 10 semester courses a year. Becoming a good writer is critical because writing is a really, really important lawyering skill that we look for in our applicants. So take every opportunity you can to practice your writing skills. And then, of course, work ethic, time management. Good time to do that is throughout your entire undergrad program. Again, skills that are really, really important for law school. So that's the academics. Next would be the law school admission test. So it's a standardized test that is administered by the Law School Admission Council, which is headquartered in the United States. And what the law school admission test measures are these skills: your reading comprehension, logical reasoning, analytical reasoning, and your writing skills. There's a writing sample attached to it. So the law school admission test has now gone completely digital. And that's how you can expect to write it in the future. And in terms of preparing for the LSAT, there's lots of information that we'll provide down the road about that, a variety of workshops that you could attend. But for the most part, we start by saying to students, see what's free. And there's a lot of free material out there. And that includes a partnership that the Law School Admission Council has with Khan Academy. Some of you may be familiar with Khan Academy, using it in high school. There's also LSAT preparation with Khan Academy. So if you want to just have a look at what some sample LSAT questions look like, you can visit the Law School Admission Council.org, lsac.org website, and just look at the LSAT and get an idea of what lies ahead. It's really can be very intellectually stimulating test, and nothing to be afraid of because it is measuring the skills that you're going to need in law school. So hopefully these are things that resonate with you. And then finally, your personal profile. So your personal profile as part of the application would include things like your personal statement and your reference letters, but also everything else about you, everything else you've done, which you would put in something called an autobiographical sketch. It's really just a resume that you will prepare from high school on. So we don't look at anything you did in high school, but we will be looking at what you do once you start university. So as part of that planning, get involved in some outside activities. And this could be anything. We don't look specifically for law-related activities. If you're interested in law-related activities, by all means, do that. If you're interested in other things, that's okay too, because we really are looking at the skills that you acquire by whatever it is you do. And there's so many opportunities to gain those skills in a variety of activities. We're looking for diversity in our student body. So again, do what you love. Maybe you're going to go on a co-op. Maybe you're going to be in a part of a co-op program, get some great experience. Maybe you'll go on an international exchange, join a club, become an executive member of a club, work in student government, work in the student newspaper. All these things have value. Get some work experience. Future legal employers like to see that you have some work experience. Leadership experience. So in your outside activities, to the extent you can rise through the ranks and become a student leader, again, something we like to see. And cultivate relationships with your peers, with other networks, but also with your professors, because you will be asking professors for reference letters in your third, fourth year or beyond for law school. And you can always benefit from really strong relationships with your professors. And again, there's that writing skills point again, improve your writing skills. I'll always work on that. So if you might be taking courses that are very based in maths and sciences, technology, maybe with your electives, you'll take some courses where you might do some more writing. So something to keep in mind for what we're going to be looking at in that personal profile piece. So what might this timeline look like in terms of what you can focus on each step of the way? And again, this is really just an example. People have different paths, people have different timelines, but we really urge you to, in your first year of university, lay a strong foundation for what's to come, become comfortable with university life. I read a lot of applications where students have a shaky start to university because they don't think it's going to be as hard as it is. And I can tell you, it is going to be harder than what you expect. So give your academics the time and attention they deserve. Students who are strong in university from year one, that really stands out in a law school application. Not fatal if you're not, because we're going to look at your later years too, for sure. But I just want to emphasize that. In year two, obviously, you're going to maintain your focus on your academics, but also explore other interests. Now, you can certainly explore other interests in your first year, and I hope that you do. But this is a good time to really spread your wings in your second year in terms of some things that really resonate and matter to you. In your third year, nice time to start to get to know your professors well, as your classes perhaps are going to be smaller classes. And again, tied to building that rapport for when you need to ask for a reference letter. And this will be the time that you start to think about the LSAT. A lot of students will write that after third year, in the summer before fourth year. It's a common time to write, not required. You'll get more information about that as you go. And then in your fourth year, depends. Are you going to apply in fourth year? Are you going to wait? What are you going to do? Many apply. If not, that's okay. That's why I have a 4+, but you're going to want to maintain those good grades. It's going to be critical in your upper year. And then you will write, maybe you'll rewrite the LSAT. You can write it more than once, and we will use your highest score for the purpose of law school admission. So this is just an example of a timeline to let you know what you might want to focus on each year. What we consider to be a competitive profile for law school admission, you can see here. So we're going to look at your cumulative GPA, or if that's not strong enough, we'll focus on your last two GPA, and we like to see it at a 3.7 level. In terms of the LSAT score, we like to see LSAT scores above the 80th percentile, at or above the 80th percentile. Certainly the higher the better. And then a strong non-academic record. So that was a personal profile that I talked about. Do strive for balance. Don't put all your eggs in any one basket. Strive for balance in your life. Take care of your health. Work hard, but also enjoy your university experience. So we have an entire section on the law website, law.uwo.ca, of frequently asked questions. It's a really good place to start when you're thinking about law school applications in a couple of years. And you can find that under the Future Students JD Admissions tab. And of course, we update that as we go. So a nice place to look when the time comes. So some of you may be contemplating, do I go into a program where I can actually do a dual degree, where I'm going to get an English LLB, which is a Bachelor of Laws, equivalent to the Canadian JD. The Canadian JD used to be called an LLB. Or do I want to go the Canadian path? So I'm just going to give you some facts so that you can think it through and so that you know what the timeline looks like. You don't really save time by going the UK route. And I just want you to be aware of some of the pros and cons. So for a Canadian law degree, you do need to write the LSAT. So in order to get into Canadian law school, I should say, whereas for the UK path, an LSAT is not required. For some people, that may be considered to be an advantage, but you have to weigh the advantages with possible disadvantages. So your path to a Canadian JD, while I said the minimum eligibility is 3 years, most students do have a 4-year undergraduate degree, whereas in a combined program, you would start and you would do 2 years in that program. After your 4 years in Canada, you will do your 3-year law degree. Tuition will vary. So it varies across the country from $10,000 to $40,000. Our tuition for this academic year was $22,700 for tuition and fees. If you go the route in the UK, those 3 years are about $30,000 a year, and you're eligible for federal OSAP funding only. Then you would return to Canada and finish your BA under a combined program. Now, we don't offer this program here at Western. I'm just providing this comparison for you. And so then in order to bring your UK degree to the Canadian standard, you would have to go through something called the National Committee of Accreditation Certificate of Qualification process. That takes about a year and a half. This would be the case for anyone who has a law degree from outside of Canada. So the median time that it takes to get that certificate, and that's usually because it involves some self-study or courses and writing extra exams, takes about a year and a half. Then beyond that, there's that licensing process I talked about. So what that looks like is, if you were in a combined program and you're coming from abroad, you have to find your own articling position, or you could attend the law practice program, which I mentioned earlier, which is offered through Ryerson University. Contrast that to having full career services within your own law school career services, which is available to you from the first year of law school. And our career services office supports your journey to finding employment in the summer or finding those articling positions, as well as numerous supports along the way. And then there's the one-year licensing process for each. Okay, so that's the articling, the bar exams, the good character requirement. So as you can see, you're looking at 8 years, again, on average, 8 years for the Canadian law degree, 8.5 years for the combined program, no LSAT, have to find your own articling position versus getting support through career services. So keep that in mind as you are contemplating which route you may want to take moving forward. So now I'd like to talk to you about our undergraduate combined degree programs here at Western, and they are with the Ivey Business School, the Honors Business Administration JD, and with the Faculty of Engineering. So some of the advantages of these programs are these. You will apply directly to Western Law as opposed to the Ontario Law School Application Service province-wide. So there's a little bit of savings there. Spots are held open. We hold spots in our incoming class specifically for students coming through this path. Overall, in the 6 years, because you're completing these degrees in 6 years instead of 7, it would normally take you 4 plus 3. This way you do both in 6 years. So in that time, you are saving about $8,000 or $9,000 in tuition, plus you are in the workforce a year earlier. So there is definitely a financial advantage in terms of you're going to be making income instead of paying tuition. And you're getting 2 professional degrees in those 6 years. So those are the advantages. What does the pathway look like? Well, if we were to look at the Ivey Business School program first, you can see that, and this is unique to Ivey, that your first 2 years are comprised of your participation in any undergraduate program, all right? So it can be at Western or elsewhere. We hope that you would choose Western, but any undergraduate program, any discipline, with the only requirement that you take Introduction to Business course. That's Business 2257 here at Western. Then you would be admitted, if successful, if your application was successful, you'd be admitted to the Ivey Business School. And that is third-year university, and that's called your HBA 1 year, your Honors Business Administration first year. That's in the 3rd year of university. At the end of that year, by May 1, you apply to the law school. If successful, you are admitted, and your 4th year of university is just law school. That's a heavy enough year as it is, as is the HBA 1 year is heavy as well. So there's your 4 years, and then it's really in the last 2 years that you are combining the programs. You are combining your courses to complete the 2nd and 3rd year of law school with your courses to complete the HBA 2 year, your 2nd and final year of the Ivey Business degree. And then at the end of year 6, you are graduating with both degrees. So that's what the path looks like. It's a similar path with the Faculty of Engineering, although there isn't any, you're starting in engineering right from the very beginning. There isn't any pre-engineering path. So 3 years there. At the end of your 3rd year of engineering, you would apply to law school. Again, year 4, just law school. And then you will combine your final year of engineering with your years 2 and 3 of law school. If you are in an engineering co-op program, you would just add a year to that up front. So it would be years 1, 2, 3 co-op, law, and then you'd finalize it. And as well, we offer this program with almost every discipline in engineering. So most of the engineering programs, you would qualify for this. So an excellent opportunity if engineering is where you are going and you see yourself in law school down the road. And this is a really good program to have if you want to get into something like intellectual property law, but also very helpful for anybody going into construction law or municipal law. Having this kind of technical background is really valued by many law firms, given some of the work that they do, which definitely interplays with engineering. So some of the Western law highlights. So now I'm going to shift from what you can do in your undergrad to prepare for law school and what that looks like and those undergrad programs to when you get into law school, what can you expect when you arrive? So these are some of our signature items. It's not an exhaustive list, but I'll start with our small group program because that would be what you would experience in your first year. So everyone in first year, and we have about 185 students in our incoming class, is put into a small group of 22 students. And unlike other law schools, it truly is a small group. And you take one core course with just the students in your small group and one professor, same professor for your legal research and writing course. And you stay with that cohort in every one of your other classes. So you're walking into every classroom, knowing some familiar faces, and you become very close with the students in your small group. It's a very supportive experience. Professionalism ceremony is something you get to enjoy on your first day. We call that also our induction ceremony. And it's really where we emphasize for you the importance of professionalism while in law school throughout your academic journey, as well as when you're in the profession. And it's similar, if you will, to the white coat ceremony if you were entering med school. So that's a really important part of your early days. And then thriving at Western is really important to us for our student body. And so we have a full-time in-house wellness counselor at the law school, provides support, one-on-one counseling appointments, wellness activities. It's all included in your tuition. There are no extra costs associated with that because we really want you to stay healthy and well when you are with us. And then we offer 8 curricular streams. So these are areas of law that you may be interested in, you want to explore further, such as criminal law, business law, international law, intellectual property law, litigation. Anyway, you can explore those a little later when you are getting closer to that point in time, but we just want to let you know that we offer a lot of courses in a lot of different areas, and we definitely urge you to explore those on our website. We also have some specialized legal clinics. Every law school does. Ours are in business law, sports law, and mediation. Corporate law is something that you must take at law schools throughout Canada, and it's a required course, but at Western, you have the option of taking it in your first year. Sometimes that's of interest to students who want to take more advanced business courses later. And of course, we have a virtual tour, a Liberty 360 virtual tour, and we urge you to have a look at that. It's on our website, right on our homepage, and that will put you right into our building. You can look around in our library, in our courtroom, in our student spaces. And as well, we've got some videos sprinkled throughout where some students will tell you about the room that you're in, how it's used. And we've also got a number of what we call hot spots, which are text boxes sprinkled through the building as well, which will give you more information about the rooms that you're in. So please definitely enjoy that since we can't host you in person. So some experiential learning opportunities at Western Law. That includes our legal clinics. I mentioned our specialized one, but of course we also have community legal services, which is a very large clinic, and that involves the students. So you will participate in that clinic. Well, you don't have to, it's obviously your choice. You apply for a position, and then you can do a lot of really interesting work. Working for people who cannot otherwise afford a lawyer. So it's very rewarding work. And your work would be supervised by our in-house review council. Pro Bono Students Canada is a chapter at our law school that gets involved in some really interesting work. Right now, we've got over 50 law students involved in approximately 23 projects providing legal services to disadvantaged populations in the London region. Lawyering skills competition. So this includes standing on your feet and acting as an advocate, but it also includes other things like contract drafting and corporate restructuring and negotiation, client counseling. So you'll have the opportunity to gain experience there while you're in law school. Doing legal research with professors, some really interesting things going on all the time. An example, right now we've got a racial profiling project on the go with one of our professors, hiring students to work on that. And lots of international opportunities as well. So we have exchanges, exchanges at 20 partners around the world at other law schools. You can do one academic term there. Or a summer internship. So those are fully funded. Students receive 10 to 15,000 for their summer experience. And these are typically abroad, some are domestic, but includes things such as the United Nations, the World Health Organization, the International Labor Organization. Some excellent experience that you can have in a summer. And in terms of careers and student life, and I touched on it earlier about our full service careers office, and we're pleased to tell you that we have an article in placement rate of over 90% here at Western Law. So our students do very, very well in their job searches. And then strong student engagement. It's an incredibly collegial environment, very, very dynamic. We're really proud of that. And we also offer peer mentorship. So upper year students serving as peer mentors for our incoming students. And a lot of that is facilitated by and through our Student Legal Society, a very active group of students, a chance for you to gain leadership experience, and numerous clubs and committees that you can get involved in. Some are fun, some are ethnic based, some are based specifically on a particular area of interest in law. So lots of things for you to round out your experience and really just enjoy the law school experience as well. So, and as you can see in that photo, some of our happy students sitting outside on a really nice day in front of our building. So that wraps it up for me. This is just a note for parents to let you know that when the time comes and your son or daughter is in law school and they're feeling just a little bit stressed, maybe the workload it gets heavy at times, keep calm and love a law student. That's what we do here at Western Law. We really do enjoy the energy brought that we benefit from, I should say, through our very strong and engaged student community. So that's all we have for this presentation, but I definitely encourage you to stay for our live Q&A session. That will be with me and my associate, Stacey Chambers, or take a virtual 360 tour by visiting our website, law.uwo.ca, and you can access it right from our homepage. So thank you for your kind attention watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your fall preview day. Thanks.